ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel after FCC pressure. ABC has suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely following political backlash to remarks Kimmel made about the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk. According to the New York Times, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr denounced Kimmel's comments and suggested the agency might act against ABC. Escalating pressure on Disney, which owns the network. Kimmel, in his Monday night monologue, said, quote, I'm quoting Jimmy Kimmel, this is what got him canned, quote, we hit some new lows over the weekend with a MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Conservatives said that misrepresented the suspect's politics. Prosecutors noted the accused shooter, Tyler Robinson, had recently expressed some progressive views. Disney executives Robert Iger and Dana Walden made the decision to pull Kimmel before Wednesday's taping. Carr praised affiliates like Nexstar and Sinclair for preempting the show, while Senator Chuck Schumer called the move, quote, disgusting, despicable, and against democratic values. President Trump, traveling in Britain, posted that the suspension was great news for America. Okay, what's the real message here? The canning of Jimmy Kimmel is putting a stake through the heart of American democracy. It's taking our Constitution, shredding it, and it's certainly blacking out the First Amendment forever. This is an unmitigated disaster if you believe in freedom. Let's go a little bit deeper here. Now, this is troubling at so many levels. What we have now is right-wing wokeness in America, which essentially says anyone who doesn't give unmitigated praise to a far-right extremist, Charlie Kirk, is going to be banished from public life, is going to be punished in their career, is going to be banished from the public square. My friends, that's never happened before in the history of America. It's not something democracies do. And we got to dissect this a little more. Okay, first of all, let's assume for the moment a comedian made a factual error. Comedians make factual errors all the time. They don't lose their shows over it. Let's assume you found what he said distasteful. Guess what? Greg Gutfeld, the conservative comedian on Fox News, says things that liberals consider distasteful pretty much every night. No one's canceling him. Let's assume the statement was tactless. Comedians say tactless things all the time. They don't have their livelihoods destroyed from them. But let's dig a little deeper into his actual thoughts, because I do think it's important to tease this out, because too many people are conflating too many issues. Many on the right have essentially said, okay, this guy was murdered, he was assassinated, that's horrible. Right-wingers say that, but everybody says that. Every Democrat I've seen, every major centrist liberal media figure, they all have said it was horrible that he was murdered. I have condemned the murder. I condemn assassination. So in that part, we're all in agreement. So we don't really have to debate. Jimmy Kimmel did not say, wow, this guy deserved to be murdered. He didn't say that. Now, if he did say that, that could be considered extraordinarily tactless, rude, obnoxious, and you could say that that's so inflammatory that that might be up there to the level of yelling fire in a crowded theater, and repercussions should take. Nobody is an absolute free speech absolutist. I realize that. But everyone recognizes there are some things you can't do, like yell fire in a crowded movie theater, because that would create a stampede and people could die needlessly. The question is, what gets to that level or close to that level where it is as dangerous? And this is where there's been a lot of conflating of issues. What we've seen now is the right in this country and the mainstream running this administration, to the extent that they're mainstream because they're running power, have now said, we're moving the bar. We're no longer saying that if you say this guy deserved it, and again, I'm not saying that, you deserve to be punished. What we're saying is if you say anything critical that might hurt our feelings, that's the equivalent of calling for violence. And if you believe in logic, if you believe that words have meaning, that has to offend you. I don't care where you are, right-wing, conservative, libertarian. I don't care where you are on the spectrum. If you actually believe in words, if words having meaning, if you actually believe in intellectual principles, you cannot make the jump from, I don't like someone calling for violence, which we all agree, to, I'm going to take the measure of a person's career and quote them accurately and have some negative perceptions about that person's career, to then saying, oh, that's the same thing as calling for violence, because it's not. It's really, really not. Certainly, I don't know of any conservative who hasn't attacked some part of John F. Kennedy's track record, whether it was his family life, whether it was advocating certain civil rights. I don't know any conservative who hasn't at some point criticized something John F. Kennedy has said, some part of his inaugural address. Some people think, ask not what you can do for your country, or what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I've heard conservatives proclaim that is communism. It's not respecting the individual. And you know what? That's okay. But I don't remember anyone coming around and saying, oh, you quoted Kennedy accurately, but you criticized him, therefore you endorsed Oswald's assassination. I've never heard anyone make that leap. And my friends, that is the leap we are seeing every single day in America, where it is essentially shredding freedom and destroying our Constitution, destroying the very fabric of this republic. And it's, I, for one, am absolutely sickened by it. Now, of course, no one has to feel sorry for Jimmy Kimmel. He's already fabulously wealthy. He makes, in excess of $10 million a year. He's got extraordinary net worth. He'll be able to do a show and a podcast on YouTube and continue making lots of money for the rest of his life. But what about the hundreds of people who work for him? Gone. Can't. What about all the other people who work at existing media companies who are now living in fear? They're trembling. They're going back and second guessing everything. A lot of network executives, media executives are going through and saying, we don't want the wrath of this administration. We realize we're on strong constitutional ground. We're not doing anything illegal, but we so fear this administration denouncing us, trashing us, throwing their goons at us, that we better play it safe. So we're going to have a new rule, new editorial rule. All of our commentators, our reporters, our comedians, everyone else, feel free to criticize any part of any Democrat, any centrist, any liberal, any progressive. Rip them apart, make fun of them, mock them. That's okay. But do not criticize anyone that is liked by MAGA, that is liked by this administration. Don't criticize them. Don't even quote them accurately, because that's the other thing we're seeing. We're seeing people lose their jobs because they quoted Charlie Kirk accurately, and they meant it as criticism. Now, let me tell you, when you devolve to a society where you cannot criticize dear leader or dear leader's friends, you're in North Korea. That's where you are. You're in Hungary. That's where you are. You're in communist China. That is where you're living now, my friends. And it's not a place I think anyone who pretends to like freedom should want to be. So this is going to have an extraordinarily chilling effect on things. And I think it's frankly bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Now, we got to tease this out a little bit more. I want to look at the actual essence of what Jimmy Kimmel says. Because, there are some who are saying, oh, sure, he shouldn't have said it. It was wrong. It was bad, but he has the right. That's one take. But I want to give you another take here that you perhaps have not considered. Again, the quote that got him canned from his monologue, from his show, was something he said in the monologue. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Okay, I'm going to be fair here. I'm going to be objective, and I'm going to make a bunch of people angry. But I want to give some both sides arguments here. You could make the case that this particular individual, this indicted, arrested assassin, had been influenced by liberal left, far left ideas. If you interpret two facts in a certain way, one fact is he put something negative to fascism on the casing of the bullet. So if you like fascism and you like fascist administrations, you wouldn't put that, you would think. So that's one item, that's one fact to sort of go into the category of, okay, maybe this guy did have some sort of non-conservative, non-MAGA influence. Perfectly fair and reasonable. Fact two, he was allegedly in a relationship with an individual transitioning from male to female. Now, that's not something the typical MAGA lover, traditional family values crowd, conservative, you would think they'd want to do. It takes a little more of an open mind to be in a relationship like that. So those are two facts that you could use to make the case, okay, maybe this guy did have some new ideological orientation, very different from his upbringing, and maybe some people in that orbit got him so angry that he committed this atrocity. It's not crazy to glom onto those two facts to make your case. All human beings are occasionally guilty of confirmation bias. I am, you are, and if you think you aren't, you're deluded. So if you just saw those two facts, you could say, all right, this guy was clearly influenced by, let's just call it non-conservative, non-MAGA values. Okay, that's two. But now let's look at it from Jimmy Kimmel's perspective. He's basically saying that this assassin was a part of the MAGA family. What are the facts for that? Well, fact number one, some of his friends are on record as saying he liked Trump in high school. His grandmother says everybody in the family is a Trump-loving MAGA conservative Republican. That's fact two. Fact three, his town is heavy MAGA Republican support. So that is his environment. Fact four, his state is heavy MAGA Republican. Fact five, the church he belongs to that he grew up in, the Mormon church, is primarily, majority members of that church are supporters of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. None of those facts means that's what caused him to commit an assassination. But if you're simply looking at facts and being fair-minded, those are all facts that would say, okay, this person's worldview was shaped by a MAGA mindset. And that is essentially what Jimmy Kimmel was saying. Now, Jimmy Kimmel could have been wrong. It may be this guy is just freaking crazy and he had absolutely no coherent set of political ideologies whatsoever. Because that's really the more likely scenario, or more common scenario with any of these mass killers. They're just kind of isolated nuts. All we really know most of the time are these are young men, most of the time white, who spend a lot of time at home alone. That's really the number one thing we know about most of these guys who are mass, or either assassins or mass murderers, or take guns to school and blow people away. They're young men who have not found their way in society. But again, if we're looking at the math, there's essentially two factoids that could make the position that this guy was influenced by a left of center ideology, but there's five factoids, and they are much deeper. These are lifelong things, growing up in that culture, that would say he was completely influenced by right-wing culture. And the other thing, the sixth item, on the bullet case, he makes an anti-gay joke. He says, if you can read this, you are gay. I don't know of anyone left of center who makes a joke like that. They don't think it's bad to be a gay. When you say, if you could do this, you must be gay, it's an implied negativity that you're gay, which can only be bad with a conservative mindset. So you've got six factoids saying if there is any ideological influence coming from greater sources, you've got six factoids saying it's a MAGA worldview. You've got two factoids saying, okay, maybe it is some left of center ideology. So that's a 3-to-1 ratio by my calculation. So if Kimmel would have been better by saying there's a 3-in-1 chance this guy is really more of a product of a MAGA environment than a left-wing environment, would that have made it any better? I don't think that the people who are upset would have cared, because they don't care about facts. What we're seeing is exploitation. We're seeing so many people cash in monetarily, selling paraphernalia, but politically, trying to use this crisis to crush and destroy political opponents. And it has all the markings of a true authoritarian regimes. And I guess I'm not even allowed to use the F word anymore. regarding to political philosophies common in Italy and Germany in the 1930s and 40s, because that's considered hate. It's now considered hate to say anything that could be construed as critical of right of center political figures, commentators, politicians. And that's unfortunately where we are in America. Let's go on a little thought experiment here. Imagine a world where a transsexual individual murders someone, and again, I hope this never happens, I don't want it to happen, murders someone on the far right. And this person grew up in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The person's parents were left-wing radical professors at Columbia University who'd written wildly anti-screeds about the particular politician who met its demise. So, and this person is on record, everyone in their family is on record as voting against people that in a party opposite of the one who was murdered. So you got all these statistics showing this is the environment this person was in. And then we find out, like a week before the atrocity happened, that the person went to a conservative Christian church and became baptized. Would we then say, okay, this person committed this murder, this assassination, because they went to this church? I don't think so. I think most fair-minded people, myself included, would say, that's too much of a jump. Look at all these other factors in the environment. Maybe we don't know, but saying it's this one thing. Now, imagine in my scenario, this person was a male killer, extreme left-wing radical parents, been involved in radical politics his whole life. Their bookshelves are lined with radical literature, and yet we find out that he has a girlfriend, 18 years old, beautiful, blonde, Christian, in a sorority at a nearby university. Would we then say, well, clearly this person was influenced by this ideology of this person committing the murder? No, we wouldn't say that. We would say, okay, that's one thing. That doesn't control it. So it's just totally bizarre, the convoluted thinking going on here. Sadly, this is not the end of the story. It's the end of our discussion for it right now, but it's not the end of the story, because I think we're going to be seeing more and more Jimmy Kimmels fired on a daily basis in America as long as this regime is in power.